What's going on, everybody? Anthony here from Fireside Giants doing a film breakdown today. Haven't done one of these in a while, but I want to take a closer look at Daniel Jones in week 2 of the preseason. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking and probably quickly going to comment down below. Anthony, you're just piling on. You're beating a dead horse. The game was a week ago. I know all those things, but that's not what I'm doing here. I'm not trying to pile on Daniel Jones. I want to take a closer look at these interceptions because I don't think Daniel Jones is fully to blame for them. And I know that might surprise some of you guys. I've been very critical of Daniel Jones myself. I advocated for drafting a quarterback. All those things true. I like to be fair and I like to be objective and I like to prove that I am. And that's why I want to do this breakdown, because while Daniel Jones did make some mistakes on these plays that resulted in interceptions, one of them being a pick six, there was a little bit more to play here. There were a few other factors at play here that caused these interceptions that maybe weren't necessarily Daniel Jones's fault. So defending Danny today, I want to go in here, want to take a look at these plays from an objective standpoint, point out what he did wrong, point out what went wrong that wasn't his fault, and ultimately just discuss these interceptions and break them down for you on the channel. So let's go ahead and jump into the film. All right, so first up, we have the pick six that Daniel Jones threw against the Houston Texans. And I want to start this play and point out something pretty particular. And I know that a lot of other people broken down these films, bigger channels, JT Sullivan of QB School. Like, there's been a lot said about this. So maybe some of those points get repeated, but I want to give my own perspective on it and just kind of have a conversation here about Daniel Jones and some of the other factors that worked against him on these two plays. Now, I've already started the video. You could see the ball is snapped. Daniel Jones is turning to hand the ball off, running back moving, tight end moving in motion, and Malik Neighbors at a standstill, Jalen Hyatt at a standstill, waiting for the ball to be snapped. They're late off the ball. And why that's so important to note is because this is very much a timing thing for Daniel Jones. He's looking for good timing with his receivers. Again, it's just the preseason, so you don't want to hold anything too far against Hyatt, against Neighbors, against Jones for this. Maybe there was a miscommunication on what the snap count was, whatever. But on this play, you see that these two players are standing there in a standstill. It's so late that they're getting out of their stance and actually beginning to play some football. It just disrupts the timing of this play. And I'll rewind here and we'll take a look at the play design and what we're getting from the play art here. You're going to see, obviously, running back Devin Singletary going out into the flat off of a play action. You're going to see this tight end come across. You're going to see this tight end go out into the flat. And what you're getting from Hyatt here is really the key to this play. He's running this deep corner route, which is really just a clear out route. He's trying to take this defensive back and this defensive back, pull them up and out of the play to clear all of this open space on the sideline for Malik Neighbors and in the middle of the field if that opens up as well. Malik Neighbors, meanwhile, running that deep over route. So your play design is going to look something like this. And Daniel Jones wants to read this part of the field and this part of the field to try and hit Malik Neighbors. If those portions of the field are not open, that's when you come back down into the flats and find an open man. So as the play begins, you'll see Malik Neighbors run his route. And this is really the key here. Once we get to the top of Malik Neighbors' route. First of all, I think it's very important to point out that Daniel Jones is doing the right thing here and reading the middle field defender. He is reading this linebacker. That's where his eyes are. He is trying to see whether or not the middle of the field is going to break open. But because this linebacker is here, he knows that if Neighbors stays on his route and runs it properly, Hyatt's clearing all of this space out. There's going to be a wide open area of the field to throw the football into for Malik Neighbors on his over route. But the problem is Neighbors gets bumped here. Now, what this should have been is the referee throwing a flag here for illegal contact downfield. This is well beyond 5 yards. Malik Neighbors is not allowed to be touched this deep into his route. So you had two factors working against the timing of Jones and Neighbors. First of all, Neighbors was late off the line of scrimmage, and he also had this contact, keeping him from getting to the right spot at the right time. So as this play continues to roll, though, once he gets this contact here, Daniel Jones still keeping his eyes, trying to read this linebacker. This is covered, but Neighbors, if he does continue his route and run it properly, his route's supposed to end up somewhere around here, the 20-yard line, because he's supposed to go over. It's a deep over route, not a deep under route. It's a deep over. He's supposed to get behind this linebacker, get open along the sidelines. Unfortunately, rookie mistake here from Malik Neighbors. He feels that contact. He goes under the linebacker. It takes away the receiving option for Daniel Jones to throw to. He's trying to get the ball here. Neighbors is running this way, messes things up. So not a pretty play from Malik Neighbors, a poor rep from him. But let's go ahead and take a look at this other camera angle because I think that reveals more about what went wrong for Daniel Jones. So like I said, this is in defense of Daniel Jones, but I'm trying to be objective, point out where Neighbors went wrong, where Jones went wrong. I'll also point out the fact that calling play action here so close to the goal line isn't always the best idea because it requires such good timing and better pass protection. Like sometimes when you're doing that play action and you're delayed, you're not getting the ball out of your hands quickly enough, you can run into trouble like we saw on this play. But let's go ahead and break down, see where Daniel Jones might have went wrong and what he can fix on this play. Now, you'll see here, play action drifts back. And I do want to point out that this is a relatively clean pocket that he has here. Now, you've obviously got a free rusher coming through off of the play action that Daniel Jones needs to be mindful of. But if you watch this play run through, there is space for Jones. And he does have the ability to maybe glide into what is a clean pocket behind Andrew Thomas and his good offensive lineman. There is space here for him to try and evade into. Instead, he does get a little bit of tunnel vision, searching downfield, staring down Malik Neighbors. The pass rusher gets in his face, and there becomes a panic because he wants to make sure that he's not taking a safety. Now, there are some cardinal sins, deadly sins for a quarterback. Number one that I'll mention that you can see Daniel Jones commit on this play, don't make a bad play worse. Taking a safety here is objectively bad. That is a bad play. Throwing a pick six is worse. Daniel Jones makes a bad play worse here. You never want to see that happen. Obviously, he throws his pass. It gets picked off. Pick six, 6 points for the Houston Texans. There are two other deadly sins that come to mind when you think about quarterback play. You never throw high over the middle of the field. You never throw late to the sideline. Daniel Jones on this play throws late to the sideline. There is an opportunity early in the play, and I know he's looking at Malik Neighbors. He's trying to see if Neighbors is going to get behind this linebacker. But he could also read this linebacker, say, okay, that passing lane is gone. Let me take my check down. Let me throw it to Theo Johnson immediately. He could have gotten this ball out right away and thrown it there. Or, don't make a bad play worse, could have thrown it right at the feet of Theo Johnson. Just take the incompletion much better than an interception or potential safety. Now, he doesn't do that. He waits. He hitches. When he finally goes to throw this ball to Theo Johnson, that's where he's targeting right now. It's too late. He's already ran into contact. Now you're thinking of taking a safety. Or he could have just gotten this ball out. He went through the full throwing motion, and then he pulls it down, throw it into the dirt, throw the incompletion, just throw the ball away, live to see another down. He doesn't do that. He tries to fight through contact. Obviously throws the ball late to the sideline. Pick six. Theo Johnson, I know some people have tried to give him blame because he didn't even seem ready for the ball, didn't seem like he knew what was happening. I think he probably thought that Jones was already sacked. But again, there were more factors at play here than just Daniel Jones having a bad play. It's Neighbors had his mistakes. Jones had his. You guys can decide who was more at fault, who was more at blame, whose mistakes were worse. Obviously, you never want to see a quarterback throw a ball like that and result in a pick six. But I do think that this is a good way to break down the how and the why this play resulted in an interception and a touchdown for the Texans. All right, moving on to the second play. I want to draw out the play art here and just kind of point out this is a shot play. There is only one way that this ball is getting thrown, and it's deep downfield, essentially. The Giants call max protect. Singletary stays in the backfield. This tight end stays to block. You've got 7 men blocking up front, and you've got 3 receiving targets. Now, what are the routes that these guys are running? Well, you have, again, a deep clear out route. So you're going to have Robinson go down the middle and take the safety out of the equation. Essentially, what you're getting here, you've got 1 safety deep, middle of the field. So you know that this is probably some sort of a cover 3, or it's just cover 1, safety over middle of the field, man coverage all across the board. Now, the route here is you've got Robinson doing the clear out, taking the safety out of the field, and then you have Neighbors running this little whip route to try and take this guy out of the equation. And then it just leaves an ISO, one-on-one for Jalen Hyatt on the outside. And because this guy is going to be preoccupied by Wan'Dale Robinson, all you have is open space deep downfield for Jalen Hyatt to run into. And that's exactly where the ball goes. Daniel Jones makes the right read. He makes the right throw. He goes deep to Jalen Hyatt. Jalen Hyatt is going up against Stingley, an elite cornerback. He's got a tough competition here. But what goes wrong on this play? Why doesn't this result in a big gain, a touchdown, or even an incompletion rather than an interception? Like I said, you've got max protect, tight end, and the running back all stay home to block and give Daniel Jones extra time and give Jalen Hyatt extra time to go downfield. Jones winds up the throw, ball comes out, maybe a little flat, and it's intercepted. Let's go ahead and first and foremost break down the route from Jalen Hyatt, taking a look at him up on the top of the screen. So like I said, you've got nothing but clear, wide open space downfield. Hyatt's going to go with a quick outside release here. He's going to quickly try and do a speed release and beat Stingley up the sideline. There's something key that he needs to do, though, after he makes his release. And for all wide receivers going downfield, getting behind the defensive back, once you get downfield, you have to stack the defensive back. So let's put Jalen Hyatt on a line here, a clear, straight line down the field, right? This is the line that he's going to be running on and that he wants to stay on. Now, he's going to take this outside release, but it's his job to work his way back onto this line. Unfortunately, when you watch this play, and the outside release is fine as long as he gets back on this line, Jalen Hyatt doesn't get back on this line. Speed release, deep downfield. And if you take a look, he has not stacked Stingley nor done anything to attempt to. He's very close to the boundary here. He's giving Daniel Jones an extremely tight window. You need a perfect throw to complete this pass because of this route from Jalen Hyatt. He just doesn't stack on top of the cornerback at any point on this play. He lets himself get stacked by the cornerback. In fact, look at how covered he is here. Now, for Daniel Jones, what went wrong? I think there's a couple things that go wrong here. So you'll see he winds up the throw. You probably want to see him put a little bit more air under it. You know that the cornerback is one-on-one with Hyatt. You know that the safety is out of the play here because of Wan'Dale Robinson. All you have is open space to put this ball. You can put a lot of air under this thing and put it into the end zone, and it's totally fine. But if you just try and fire that thing in there, it's going to be a contested grab. You know for sure that you're welcoming a contest between the wide receiver and the cornerback. So for Daniel Jones, I think you put more air under it. You let Jalen Hyatt try and run under it, and you've got a better chance of completing this. Unfortunately, he goes and he fires it in there. Not a lot of touch, not a lot of lob under that ball, and it ultimately gets intercepted. It's very important for a wide receiver to stack the cornerback and make it so that the cornerback has to go through his back in order to get to the football. But again, I think it's important to highlight with this throw, if you take a closer look at this play, even from this camera angle, again, Jones throws this thing, and I do think it's a little bit flat, but look at how covered Jalen Hyatt is. Is that Daniel Jones' fault for throwing to a covered receiver? No, this is a shot play. You're trying to take a shot, 50-50 ball down the sideline. They drew it up to perfection. This is exactly what it's supposed to look like. Jalen Hyatt just has to do a better job of getting open. So I think this is a bad route by Jalen Hyatt. I think a better throw from Daniel Jones here could still give Hyatt a chance. But overall, generally speaking, this is really on Jalen Hyatt. I think that he needs to just really sharpen his route running on this play. But there you go. There you have it. There's your film breakdown on 2 plays from the New York Giants matchup with the Houston Texans. Daniel Jones' 2 interceptions. Who do you blame most? Do you just blame Daniel Jones? It's all on him. Do you blame Malik Neighbors? Do you blame Jalen Hyatt? Do you blame Brian Dable for the play calls? I want to hear your thoughts. Again, this wasn't meant to pile on Daniel Jones. This wasn't meant to create any type of controversy. Anytime you watch a football play, 5 people can watch the same play. 5 people can have a different takeaway. Maybe there's something I missed, and you guys let me know down below. Maybe there's something that you think is a bigger problem than maybe I thought it was, or maybe not as big of a problem as I thought it was. Again, different perspectives. That's what I love about this. So let's just have a good conversation down below in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about this film breakdown. If you want to see more, and let me know your thoughts on these 2 plays that I did break down. Love to hear from you down below in the comment section. So make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this episode. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Ring the bell so you don't miss an episode. And comment your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you listen to Apple or Spotify, please make sure to leave us a 5-star review. Go ahead and follow us on all of our social media channels at Fireside Giants. Without further ado, catch you all on the next one. Have a good one, and let's go Giants.